must be cursed.
Welcome to springtime in New York. Madison Square Park, remember, no bicycling. It's been quite a while since I've done one of these walk around videos. People saw I was hanging out in Florida with Sal, visiting family down there. There's a lot going on. Some people would say we got a energy crisis pending, a food crisis pending, big war going on. It's maniac season in New York. So that means there will be bicycles on the sidewalk, crazy people doing crazy things. But we've got a brutal bare knuckle battle. I don't know if people have been following that on X. Welcome back, by the way, to all the viewers on the Jason Goodman YouTube channel, recently reinstated, not even a month ago. 115,000 subscribers there. Oh, speaking of maniac season, we're not a moment too soon. Don't forget your wool hat. Don't forget your wool hat. It's only 70 degrees out. But welcome back to all the viewers. 115,000 subscribers, videos getting 300 views. I don't know. YouTube is a complicated thing. Social media is a complicated thing. Laura Loomer and Candace Owens, huge battle going on. People say, oh, you know, this is clout chasing, clickbaiting. No, I'm actually very interested in this from the standpoint of social engineering, because there's so much surrounding the two of them, and I'm not accusing either of them of any wrongdoing. I'm just observing what goes on around these two very large and influential social media accounts. You know, it seems quite clear to me, and this ties directly back to the reinstatement of the Jason Goodman YouTube channel, that there's been a shift in the sort of center of the media universe. Tectonic plates are moving around. Look at that little wiener dog getting pissed off. Those dogs get angry. But there's been a shift, right? It was 10 years ago that I started Crowdsource the Truth, almost to the month. We're getting close. 2016. And when was YouTube created? I know the iPhone, I think the first one came out. Already we're having a problem with the broadcast. I think the first iPhone came out 2006, right? So I'm not sure when YouTube came about, but certainly it was low quality, crap video at first. Did we already lose this broadcast? What a disappointment that'll be if it did. My point being, everybody knows about Operation Mockingbird and how the CIA was able to control media by paying journalists. I've alleged that professional scumbag Adam Sharp's father was a part of that. He was inside the Dallas police station reporting that Lee Harvey Oswald shot JFK on November 22nd, 1963. People who watch the Jason Goodman YouTube channel might have missed all that, because a lawsuit from Adam Sharp played a pivotal role in knocking that channel out. I hope we're still live. There's that little dog. Maybe it cut off. Well, if it did, this will come back later. Working on technology to mitigate that problem. We know there's been all kinds of issues, but you know, certainly 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, even early 2000s. You know, 2006 when the iPhone came out, didn't even have a camera on it yet. And live streaming on YouTube. I remember when I started, live streaming was pretty new. You could upload videos to YouTube, you know, maybe since 2004, 5, I don't know. But the concept of going live from your phone, it was still pretty new. We didn't have all these social media influencers, you know. Tucker Carlson was still on Fox News, Megyn Kelly, NBC. Those were the media giants, you know. The notion that somebody like Laura Loomer or any individual, Candace Owens, could become so influential in that I think Candace Owens has 4 million people watching her shows, maybe more. Laura's got 2 million on Twitter, on X. Now this is bizarre. I saw this the other day. It's part of the reason why I wanted to come out and do this video. Look at that eyeball. What do people think of that? I know Crowdsource the Truth viewers are going to find that pretty interesting. That is a very all-seeing eye. You know, are we living in a simulation? What does that even mean? You know, some people think that's a crazy idea. Like, you know, what are we talking about? Are we living in some kind of alien video game? Or is it that we're so bombarded with manipulated narratives that everything that almost everybody believes is false or some concocted story? I don't know. Crowdsource the Truth from the beginning, a lot of people misunderstood what it was about. They thought, some people thought, it meant that I had the truth and I was asking people for money to crowdfund that truth. I don't have the truth. I'm people to fund the show by going to Source the Truth or Crowdsource the Truth. The big part of that is and things are sponsored by operations, does or does not say, because when I first started this, I was having a conversation who unfortunately I don't speak to anymore. Pharmaceutical and pharmaceutical company, what you put, us what to put there, and tell them what to there, they would. So that there is a direct relation. Colbert, is that Stephen Colbert's wife, daughter? But it's Steel, and it's Dreamland Sirens. Live isn't going up, Sal says. It's 8 minutes late. Oh man. You see, there's all these technical problems. I've got 4 bars. I don't know what channel Sal is watching on, but as maybe on X it's not going. Yeah, all kinds of problems. No, well, wait a minute. Looks. Point is, the direct-to-viewer sponsorship, that's how I like to do it, because that eliminates any corporate sponsor who might say, hey Jason, you know, we don't like all this stuff that you're saying about this or that, COVID-19 or the election. That's ostensibly what got me kicked off of YouTube 5 years ago. But you know, I'll do another video perhaps in the future about how the YouTube channel was reinstated. It was a brutal battle, not quite as brutal as what we're seeing between Laura Loomer and Candace Owens. That's crazy. I don't know if I've ever seen anything quite like that. They're locked in a bare knuckle. It's just a fight to the death, really, right? I mean, so let's just talk about it, because if you've been living under a rock, maybe you haven't seen what's been going on there. But I don't even know what brought this about, but Laura started basically putting out some information about an alleged DUI arrest where Candace Owens' husband, who I think maybe he's a U.S. citizen, but he's British born, obviously. His father is a lord in the United Kingdom. The father is a whole interesting story unto himself. His involvement in precious metals, and a whole. We got into that with Charles. Charles was telling me a lot about what the father was doing with this Germany. But anyway, there was this she's got a whole series here on the collapse of Candace. I don't know, maybe this is collapse of Candace. I don't know, maybe this is because she doesn't like what Candace has to say about Charlie Kirk and Erica Kirk and all of that. By the way, I want to remind people who are here to tell me how much they hate me. I had a fairly positive view of Candace Owens at the outset of that Charlie Kirk incident. She was ignoring my information. We'll talk about that some more too. But here it is. Laura's talking about, I think I just passed it there. She's talking about this arrest report that she got. People have pointed out it says the guy's hair is black. His hair is actually blonde. I could believe sloppy police handwriting gets transcribed incorrectly on a police report, and blonde comes out as black when it gets typed. The bigger problem is that Tennessee is misspelled on a police report. Again, I'm not making excuses for that. I don't have answers for how that could have happened. I acknowledge those are problems, but people have said that that is proof. People, again, don't seem to know the difference between evidence and proof. They say that's proof. Some people have said it's proof that Laura forged these documents. And I just think that that is just too far of a leap, because that would be crazy for Laura to do that. Why would she do that? You know, I mean, it would seem logically that deliberately forging the documents would open the door to a huge lawsuit from would knowingly, you know, that would, you were knowingly to harm the person or hate Laura. I don't think she is. She got tricked into eating dog food. Selling some advertised as being so high quality. Bison, maybe not apple, something you could, as part of the ad. I mean, that's different than getting tricked. Maybe ad reads. So is that stupid or subjective? But there's a lot of people who might choose. Definitely don't think that might be evidence that she brought it to my attention and she got paid. She knows her way. Is all about stupid people are self-preservation. That they're going to lose. So I find it hard to imagine the word Tennessee police document in pretty stupid things. And if someone types that day they made a But there are problems on that document. When people, how do you feel about? I said, well, TRX. I noticed that the intake scoop for the super grill looks like it has. That's significant because truck and my point is it seems like a pretty common throwing it down to $100,000 pickup truck. Again, we start to have could be that guy's truck. I had made this up. I pretty immediately. Again, it's fake information, false information that people like. It's like Marmaduke. Accusing Laura or Candace of putting out fake information. I don't know. I haven't at all in probably text occasionally, but Laura's up Pentagon and stuff like that. But correct or incorrect, I'm just looking at whatever to me that Laura would do this against someone who obviously. Why would she hand her that ammunition? The other thing that's a little crazy about the President of the United States, so this is what I mean. Here's Newsweek. Trump photo, they say. That this really unflattering Candace Owens is doctored, real or doctored. And I don't agree with the president. She is a very this already come out and addressed it herself. I think she said in 2000 was she got. That's plausible. That could be true. You get sick, your face swells up, you look like that. But she acknowledged it. Why would she, let's accept that as true. Why would she lie? I mean, you could say said this and that. Anything is possible, but let's accept that plausible. Didn't she have, an equally for what Laura is putting out now? And I can already, because I got to keep my eye on this signal. It's not working that well today. I'm disappointed. Like I've said many times, network going, and it's just so frustrating. Get away this rebuttal, but look at we do not own. Well, I don't think that's that happened in 2000. She doesn't own the. And what I'm talking about, she works for some kind of That's how number from the police address false. I don't even, but people who have been watching at doing, whether it's Alan Durr or his brother Eric, there was an Elon Musk. It has helped address. I'm not. I wasn't. So I mean, again, eventually get Candace Owens, brought up on some kind of criminal charge. I think she's even calling for that, and that would be a worthwhile thing for Candace to be concerned about. Laura has got some pull with the president. You never know what might come of that. But that's, I mean, you're really, when I say bare knuckle, you threaten the father of somebody's children with getting deported from the United States and put in jail. This is not joking around. I don't think that people are doing this for clicks or, she's going to know that the defense against that, the retaliation, I'm sure Laura would have anticipated what is happening now with Candace. And if her fiance did do something that's against the law, that's not smart. He might get into trouble too. By the way, the other thing is I saw, I don't know who it was, some other social media influencers were saying that Laura's breaking the law and forging documents. She's going to go to jail for that. I don't know. People read laws and they think that that equates to automatically having things happen. George and his brother, according to evidence I've seen in the public domain, have forged documents and filed them in U.S. District Court. 88, that's the same number that was in George Farmer's license plate, allegedly. And then that was linked to HH, which is linked to, Nazi stuff. It's also a good luck number in Chinese, so maybe George Farmer likes China. I don't know. That's the thing. Jumping to conclusions from this stuff, you got to be careful. You never know what people have in mind or what this stuff is all about. But yeah, George and his brother forged a document, changed the date, did all kinds of things. I told a federal judge about it. The Detroit police and the Detroit FBI agreed with me that that had happened, yet no prosecution ever. So, I mean, again, they're playing with fire. Whether somebody gets burned or not, I don't really know. We will see. Or maybe not. Maybe nothing happens. What buffering? YouTube started in 2005, sold to Google in 2006 for $1.6 billion. Yeah. They're doing everything in their power to quiet me. I agree, John. Yeah, and by the way, if people are watching on Crowdsource 11, Crowdsource 12, I hope you will subscribe on the Jason Goodman YouTube channel. If you just go down to the bottom, I've got the featured channels there. It's amazing. Oh, it didn't start on the Jason Goodman channel, so nobody can watch there. Why the hell did that happen? I'll have to check that. That must be what Sal was talking about. Yeah, it is. They don't make it easy for me here. I'll deal with that when I get back to the apartment. Yeah, I tell you. Why did that not go? But we'll have to see what happens. Candace is going full bore for Laura. Laura's going full bore for Candace. See, the thing is, I had mentioned earlier that I was positive on Candace initially. Now, where is this? I thought I had this thing in here. Maybe I forgot to load it, but no, here it is. Yeah, Kirk was killed, I tried to share information with her. She power ignored it. We even got this, somebody here who, I don't know this person. This is Aiden Rigel show. Does anybody know who Aiden Rigel is? He sent $200, and then somebody said that this guy had previously sent $100 telling Candace that she should talk to me about the evidence that I had with Charlie Kirk. It didn't make a lot of sense to me that she didn't even want to talk about that and hear about that because it was really relevant to the investigation, I thought, and certainly in the first week, millions of people were looking at it. There's no way she didn't see it. So whenever somebody ignores something that conspicuously, I get suspicious, kind of like Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberger ignoring my information about the Twitter coup and then releasing the Twitter files. A lot of people became suspicious of Michael Schellenberger when he went on Joe Rogan and was defending Epstein. I found that crazy, and I'm glad Joe Rogan called him out. So, I mean, again, simulation, what somehow influencing the details. Agreeing with Joe, and also having already Michael Schellenberger was a guys, literally, when I tried to hand them the Twitter coup, they were like, oh, they were like afraid of it. There's certain people who behave in a way that they are avoiding me. People say, well, a lot of people don't like you, Jason. You're a jerk and you yell at people on bicycles. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who, even before any of that happened, people who are afraid of the information. Like, why would Elon Musk so aggressively avoid what I was trying to tell him about the FBI being involved in Twitter? Particularly when his, reason ostensibly for buying it was to make it a free speech platform. Was that really the reason, or was it that he knew it was a social engineering platform and he just wanted it to be a social engineering platform for him? And if so, are these prominent voices on social media, whether it's Twitter or YouTube, Candace, Laura, George, any of these people that we see, are they, is someone, boosting that for some reason, whether it's paying them money as sponsors and advertisers, or, boosting their information in some way? I can't leave John Cullen out of this. Remember, this is a guy, people will say, Jason, you fight with everybody. That's not true. I did everything I could to help John Cullen to build his platform. He would literally have no platform if it wasn't for me. He had no Twitter and no plans to start it. What a fluffy giant dog that is. Whoa. Had no Twitter whatsoever until we're making some movie with that dog. Is that an NYU Alexa? We've really come a long way since I was there. What do we got going on here? Haven't been down to the park in a while, so people can sort of check out what's going on. All the short, fat, out of shape police officers. All the short, fat, out of shape police officers. Well, Sal is correct. There is no video there. It says upcoming. Where is it playing live here? What do we have here? What is this? more interference. There's probably going to be police around messing with what I'm trying to do. How you doing? Let's see who. See, I'm having a lot of difficulty here. Maybe it's just people using. Maybe it's time to start random investigations on the street again. People always seem to I do that. See, this is what I mean, maniacs. Or maybe not. I mean, right, so she didn't even bother to for sending her $2 super chats, $5 super chats. Then she boosts people like Ian, people like Baron Coleman. That I say that, but the district attorney, he was, what did they say? He was something like that. It's supposed to be a felony. It's sworn under penalty. To him. So the reason why I think this whole is because if Candace real serious run-in with the law where he could get kicked out of jail, there was apparently a gun in what's been published there. It's like with Blake Bednar's. Now, when I put out Blake's rap sheet, Blake has to make a fake image of all kinds of things, but not that, and certainly I would be subject to, he wants to make that claim. It's false. I didn't use AI. People said, oh, Tennessee is misspelled instead of England or something like that. So that means Laura forged the document. Discrepancies in the document that definitely require an explanation, but I don't think we can jump to the conclusion. Things like, did somebody deliberately give Laura information that was wrong? And I'm not saying that Laura would fall for that, but that's where my mind would go first, because when I first found out about Blake Bednar's criminal past, his convictions, his felonious activity, his serial criminal tendencies, fraudulent behavior, ongoing repetitive commission of crimes, not alleged, adjudicated, convicted, pled out. When I first found out about that, it was because somebody had sent to me some kind of, maybe a mugshot. And my first thought was, is this real? I didn't just blast it out all over the internet. I went, and also I didn't know if the person wanted their name out there or not. The person was using a fake name. That was another red flag on the information. So rather than just hang my hat on this fake named person and their inflammatory information, I went to the texas.gov. I don't remember the exact website offhand, but I went to a Texas, police website and looked this all up. That's where I found the records about Blake that I put out. And I have to assume, based on knowing Laura, not just making a random assumption, that Laura would have done the same thing. She's going to run that information down. And that assumption is backed up by Laura's behavior last night when it started coming out that people were saying Laura forged this information. If she had made a mistake or someone gave her bunk info, that would have been the opportunity to say something to the effect of, oh, it's been brought to my attention that some of this is incorrect and I'm retracting an earlier statement. That's the kind of thing somebody would do if they wanted to avoid the legal liability that such serious allegations, if proven false. Candace hasn't said unequivocally that these allegations